Okay, so hello everyone. My name is Stephanie Yowen and I'm an adjunct career counselor at GCC, and I will be doing the introduction, but Elise Dulai, President of Associated Students at GCC, will be hosting and facilitating this event. So I'm excited to fold along with you all as well. So before we begin, I want to remind all attendees to please sign in to the chat provided by Alfonso. If you have any issues, please direct message him. And also, the survey will be shared in the chat by Alfonso towards the end of the event. So please take a couple of minutes to complete the survey for us. If any registered GCC students would like to be eligible for the raffle, please be sure to complete the post-event survey. The last survey question will ask for your GCC ID number, which will enter you into the raffle. And we have closed captioning services provided by Sean, so thank you so much. And you can enable closed captioning by selecting live transcript and enabling captions. Thank you for being here. Lastly, this is a reminder that this event will be recorded, so please adjust your settings to your preferences. But before we get started, I want to offer a land acknowledgement on behalf of the Planning Committee. Every community owes its existence and vitality to generations from around the world who contributed their hopes, dreams, and energy to making the history that led to this moment. Some were brought here against their will, some were drawn to leave their distant homes in hope for a better life, and some have lived on this land for more generations than can be counted. Truth and acknowledgement are critical to building mutual respect and connection across all barriers of heritage and difference. We begin this effort to acknowledge what has been buried by honoring the truth. We are currently occupying ancestral land of the Tongva people. In our work to promote social justice and education, we must always consider the many legacies of violence, displacement, migration, and settlement that bring us here together today. With that being said, I'd like to welcome you all to this evening's presentation, Origami Night with Elise Dulai. And this is Glendale Community College's second year observing Asian Pacific American Heritage Month. And this year's theme is APAHM Resilience, Finding Strength Through Community, with APAHM standing for Asian Pacific Islander and Destiny American. All right, so I'm going to let Elise take it away from here.
Thank you so much, Stephanie. So hi, everybody. My name is Elise. I wear a lot of hats at GCC, so you may have seen me in a different capacity hosting some other meeting, but today I'm just here to teach you how to do some origami. I do want to give a quick disclaimer to begin with, though. I am not Japanese. I am Filipino, but origami has been a really huge part of my life since early elementary school. I fell in love with it after reading a book, which I will tell you a little bit more about later. And then throughout elementary school, middle school, and high school, I was a total art kid. I was in a bunch of art classes, but I always gravitated towards 3D art and sculpture and anything that had to do with paper and crafts and making things in that kind of 3D form. So that's kind of why I'm here today, because I've basically done origami my whole life. And as I started getting older and going through some difficult times, I have always turned to art, especially origami as kind of a meditative practice, to feel like I am in control, which is really one of the biggest reasons why art is such a healing force for me personally. Now, art has a lot of different meanings for a lot of different people. And so I hope that this presentation, you can find a new art form to enjoy if you don't know how to do origami already. So I'm going to start off with a little bit of history. And the first thing I want to do is just acknowledge, I hope you can all see my screen. Let's see. Okay, the first thing I want to do is just acknowledge that there are many different art forms throughout Southeast Asia and Pacific Islands, which is kind of where we're focusing our efforts on for this whole presentation. So as you can see on the screen right here, there's an example of statues from South India, some rattan baskets from Vietnam, some Indonesian batik, which batik is a specific type of pattern for this fabric, Chinese paper cutting, and then a Polynesian sculpture. And my Oh, I think there's somebody in the waiting room, but right here, you can see my other screen. Let me spotlight it 1 second. Right here, you can see this is Filipino copper. I don't really know what it's called. It was just in my house. So this is a Filipino copper plate. And so that what they did was they just hammered this in the Philippines. And this is another example of Filipino art, which is weaving. And the reason that I wanted to highlight all of this today is because it's really important to just acknowledge that there are plenty of different art forms throughout Asia, not just origami. But the main reason why we're doing origami today is because it's pretty easy for people to get these materials. So obviously not everybody has access to the stone they use for carving or the fabric needed for weaving and things like that. So moving on, origami can kind of be translated into 2 things. It can be split up into 2 words. So oru, which means to fold, and kami, which means paper. And that's just kind of what the word means in Japanese. But this is a little bit more of the history. So the first evidence of folding anything really came from ancient Egypt, which is this folded papyrus map. So if you've ever gone on vacation and you needed to pick up some sort of travel brochure or a map from somewhere and it folds out from a really small pamphlet into this larger map of the city, that's where this came from. So it came from ancient Egypt. And they used papyrus because paper hadn't been invented yet. Then in 105 CE, paper was invented in China. Now this is really important because then paper was used by monks and brought around Asia. And so then origami was initially used for religious purposes. As you can see here, this is an example of a scroll that was folded rather than rolled, which is something that we'll get into a little bit later. In the late 800s CE, origami began to be used for functional purposes, so like making boxes or envelopes for letters. But then in the 16th and 17th century, European paper folding became really common as more of a decorative purpose. So it became it transformed from being something that was really functional to being something that was more decorative. And you'll see some examples of that a little bit later. So in the 20th century, origami was introduced to America. Now this is after World War II. And this man right here is Akira Yoshizawa, who published a book known as New Origami Art, and that popularized origami in America. And he's actually known as the Grandmaster of Origami, which is kind of a cool name if you get to be known as that. And the last thing I wanted to just show in this little slideshow in this introduction to origami is this contemporary origami. Now, we're not going to be doing any of this today. I promise this is way too complicated. Even I can't do this, no matter how hard I would practice. But like this elephant is absolutely massive. And you can see that origami has kind of taken on new forms throughout history. So going back from being like a very functional thing, this is way more decorative and way more something that you would see in like a museum. Like this is obviously a museum exhibit, as are these 2 other pieces. And so that's kind of the end of my little presentation, just to introduce you guys to origami. So we can move on to our first project, but before we do that, I do want to ask, I believe I can see a lot of you, but I do want to ask how many people have origami paper with them. If you could just put your hand up or put something in the chat. Okay, I'm seeing some people. Okay. I'm seeing some people say no, so that's perfectly fine. So I will just show you right now how to fold a square. That's basically all you need in order to do origami, is you need a square piece of paper. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Okay. 1 minute. Okay. Move this out of the way. So as you can see, can everybody see my hands, my little workstation here? This is so weird. I've never done this before. Okay, I'm seeing some thumbs up. Great. So if you guys could all grab a rectangular sheet of paper for me, that would be great. Right here, I have an 8.5 by 11 sheet of just printer paper. You can also use magazine pages. Magazine pages actually work really well. So right here, I have a little advertisement from a magazine that I just ripped out. And you can use any sort of paper that you need. And then put a thumbs up or something in the chat once you have that. Okay. Hey, fantastic. Okay. So the first thing you're going to do to make this square, and I will show you with this piece of printer paper right here, is make a triangle. So you're going to fold from this corner right here all the way so that this edge right here lines up with the top edge. You're going to want to make a corner right here. If I need to zoom in, just let me know and I will happily do that. And then you're going to want to crease the paper. And what I mean by creasing the paper is just the area where you folded, just push it down a little bit more. Okay. And then I know a lot of you have your cameras off, so just put a thumbs up in the chat or using the reactions if you're all caught up. Okay, great. Let me, okay, there we go. So the next thing you're going to do is you can see that you have this triangle piece right here, and then you also have this extra piece right here. So what you're going to want to do is fold this extra piece so that you have this crease right here, if you can see it, this piece right here. So you're going to fold this extra piece up so that you cover it like this. That makes sense. I have another example right here of, I had another example somewhere. So this is what it should look like. Yes. Okay. Great, yay! I see those of you who have your camera on. Thank you for showing. Okay, so the next thing you're gonna do is flip. You see how you made this crease right here? This crease right here, you're gonna flip it the other way. Adjust my camera just a little bit so you guys can get a better view. You're gonna flip it the other way. And this is where the ripping happens. If you have scissors, then you're more than welcome to use scissors and just cut along the line that you made right here. If you don't have scissors, there's another way you can do this, and I'll show you how to do it right now. So you just pinch between your nails. I'll show you. So you just pinch this crease between your nails all the way down. And then flip it the other way. Oh, Paulo already knows what we're doing. Okay. Flip it and crease it the other way. And then pressing it on whatever hard surface you're working on, you're gonna rip it. That makes sense? And sometimes the paper will rip because that's just what paper does. And that's perfectly fine. As long as you get to something resembling a square, you will be good. So you have this extra piece. If you have scissors, like I said, it's a lot easier. Then you have this other piece, which is the square that we are going to be looking at. Okay. And again, give me a thumbs up in the chat if you have that. can see all my mess now that my camera switched views. Okay, seeing some thumbs up, great. Okay, so you're gonna do that 2 more times. We're gonna all do it together, but you need to do it 2 more times because we're making 3 projects today. Well, I'm talking about the projects that, I should have shown you guys the projects that we're making. So we're gonna be making a pinwheel that looks like this. We are going to be making a box that looks like this. And then we're gonna be making a paper crane that looks like this. So let's all make those 2 other sheets of paper. And I'm gonna do it this time with a magazine, because like I said, you can use anything that you want, any kind of paper that you have at home at your disposal. If you have origami paper, then thank you for being patient with us as we get all of our materials set up. It's very therapeutic, I think. Magazines are actually a little bit easier to fold and rip than I think regular printer paper. Oh, I don't know your name, but I see Revel. Revel's using some lined paper that works perfectly well too. Here. Rip it. Anything, it makes a very satisfying noise as you rip it. So that's our second one. Then our third one. I don't have my scissors with me right now, so I'm just gonna do the same thing and just crease it and cut it one more time. And then once you have your 3 sheets of paper, I think some people are done. Just give me a thumbs up. Okay. Good. Yay. Okay, fantastic. Seeing some more thumbs up, and don't worry, we're going to be in a few minutes. I have a short video to show you. So if you're not done folding your paper, then you're more than welcome to continue folding during the video. So the first thing that we're going to do today is make a pinwheel. I see somebody else in the chat, so give me a minute. So the first thing we're going to be doing today is making a pinwheel, and I'm going to hold it up closer to the camera so you can see it. It looks like this. This is one of the simplest things to make in origami because it's flat. You're not trying to make anything into some sort of 3D shape quite yet. So the first thing you're going to do with your little square piece of paper here is fold. You have one crease already right here, and you're going to fold it the opposite direction. So in one there, the first time you're going from the bottom left to the top right. This time you're going to go from the bottom right to the top left. You're basically making an X with your creases. My paper isn't perfectly square, but that's fine. The next thing that you're going to do is fold from, you're going to rotate your paper, or you don't have to rotate your paper, but you're going to fold from left to right, or right to left, either way. So instead of folding on the diagonal, you're going to fold on like a straight line. Then you're going to fold from bottom to top or top to bottom, whatever you want. Okay. And then you're gonna fold, we good? Thumbs up. Just check it in. Okay, then you're gonna fold from this bottom part right here to the middle crease. Oh, that's a great question. No, you don't do it with all 3 pages. Just do it with the one paper that you're working with. Fold it from the top to the bottom, or top to the middle, not top to the bottom. I'm gonna hold up my paper a little bit closer, so hopefully you can see on my paper, there's a few more creases and you can kind of see the definition. Next thing you're gonna do is fold from the right to the middle. And then the left to the middle. I have a feeling you guys know where we're going with this. Right to the middle, and then left to the middle. Okay, so as you can see in our crease lines, we have basically what looks like a giant grid with X's, with a giant X in the middle. What you're gonna do now, if everybody has this done, this is kind of the most complicated part of this process in making a pinwheel, is you are going to pinch right here. So you're gonna pinch the corner box right here, and fold it down. So everything will fold with it. And pinch and push it down. I'm gonna adjust my light actually, so you guys can hopefully see a little bit better. Maybe that works. Okay. A little more definition, a little more shadow. Good, Paulo. Okay, you got it. So then you're gonna rotate your paper. Do it again. You're gonna do this 4 times to make the 4 points of the pinwheel. As you can see, as we do this, the paper will kind of remember the folds that you made. Almost seems like the paper has a little bit of memory, and then it just kind of folds in on itself, and you have a pinwheel.
I didn't see. What do I did do again?
That's okay. I'll start over. Okay. So from here, you have your sheet of paper, right? With all of the folds. Perfect. Okay. So it looks like you're missing a couple of folds. So you have the folds from the right and the left to the middle. You want to have another fold
I
from
need
the bottom.
the right and left. Just wait 1 second.
Okay. Oh, got it. Paulo, our first video is a math video, so you and I are going to learn a little something about math today. Oh, that's perfect. That's great. Okay, so now what you're going to want to do is pinch. So you're going to pinch basically 3 parts. So I'm going to show you kind of up close. So you have this line right here. You have a line right here, and you have a line right here, and you're going to pinch those together. So you're gonna pinch these 2, almost like you're holding a taco. You're gonna basically make a taco with this being the center crease. If that makes sense. I'm gonna pinch it and then push down. Okay, so you're gonna pinch it Oh, you got it. So you got the pinch. And now what you're going to want to do is just push this down. This part right here, you're going to push it down. Oh, Lee, that's great. Okay. We good? Am I seeing some thumbs up? I know the name on the screen is Alexandra Evans. I'm assuming you're not, I know you're not Alexandra Evans. How are you doing? Hi, Alexandra. Okay.
So your name's here.
Okay. So we good? Everybody have their pinwheels? Again, this is just like okay, great. So this is the first thing that we're doing today. The reason I wanted to start with this is because it kind of shows you the basics in terms of folding things from left to right or folding things on the diagonal. But there's a little bit of math behind this, and that's what I wanted to show you guys in the next video, I guess the first video. So let me open it up right now. It's short, I promise. This isn't a math class. If it were a math class, I would not be teaching it, I promise you guys that. Let's see, I don't know. Oh, there we go. Okay. Oh, 1 second. Never hear it.
As the space telescope prepares to snap a photo, the light of the nearby star blocks its view. But the telescope has a trick up its sleeve, a massive shield to block the glare. This star shade has a diameter of about 35 meters. That folds down to just under 2.5 meters, small enough to carry on the end of a rocket. Its compact design is based on an ancient art form, origami, which literally translates to folding paper, is a Japanese practice dating back to at least the 17th century. In origami, the same simple concepts yield everything from a paper crane with about 20 steps to this dragon with over 1,000 steps, to a star shade. A single traditionally square sheet of paper can be transformed into almost any shape purely by folding. Unfold that sheet and there's a pattern of lines, each of which represents a concave valley fold or a convex mountain fold. Origami artists arrange these folds to create crease patterns, which serve as blueprints for their designs. Though most origami models are three-dimensional, their crease patterns are usually designed to fold flat without introducing any new creases or cutting the paper. The mathematical rules behind flat foldable crease patterns are much simpler than those behind 3D crease patterns. It's easier to create an abstract 2D design and then shape it into a 3D form. There are 4 rules that any flat foldable crease pattern must obey. First, the crease pattern must be two-colorable, meaning the areas between creases can be filled with 2 colors so that areas of the same color never touch. Add another crease here, and the crease pattern no longer displays 2 colorability. Second, the number of mountain and valley folds at any interior vertex must differ by exactly 2, like the 3 valley folds and 1 mountain fold that meet here. Here's a closer look at what happens when we make the folds at this vertex. If we add a mountain fold at this vertex, there are 3 valleys and 2 mountains. If it's a valley, there are 4 valleys and 1 mountain. Either way, the model doesn't fold flat. The third rule is that if we number all the angles at an interior vertex moving clockwise or counterclockwise, the even-numbered angles must add up to 180 degrees, as must the odd-numbered angles. Looking closer at the folds, we can see why. If we add a crease and number the new angles at this vertex, the even and odd angles no longer add up to 180 degrees, and the model doesn't fold flat. Finally, a layer cannot penetrate a fold. A 2D flat foldable base is often an abstract representation of a final 3D shape. Understanding the relationship between crease patterns, 2D bases, and the final 3D form allows origami artists to design incredibly complex shapes. Take this crease pattern by origami artist Robert J. Lang. The crease pattern allocates areas for a creature's legs, tail, and other appendages. When we fold the crease pattern into this flat base, each of these allocated areas becomes a separate flap. By narrowing, bending, and sculpting these flaps, the 2D base becomes a 3D scorpion. Now, what if we wanted to fold 7 of these flowers from the same sheet of paper? If we can duplicate the flower's crease pattern and connect each of them in such a way that all 4 laws are satisfied, we can create a tessellation, or a repeating pattern of shapes that covers a plane without any gaps or overlaps. The ability to fold a large surface into a compact shape has applications from the vastness of space to the microscopic world of our cells. Using principles of origami, medical engineers have reimagined the traditional stent graft, a tube used to open and support damaged blood vessels. Through tessellation, the rigid tubular structure folds into a compact sheet about half its expanded size. Origami principles have been used in airbags, solar arrays, self-folding robots, and even DNA nanostructures. Who knows what possibilities will unfold next? What was life like in ancient?
Yeah, I saw some good positive things in the chat. I'm so glad you guys liked that video. It was really surprising to me when I learned that they were using origami principles out in space. But I guess origami does have practical uses as well. So we're going to move on to the next, I guess, mini project for today before we work our way up to the crane that we're making. So I adjusted my camera, so hopefully it's a little bit closer. You guys can see. So this time I'm going to use this one, which is like a Clinique ad that I cut into a sheet of paper. And we are going to be making this box. And this is a very small version of what you're going to be making today. So the first step, you're going to be kind of repeating the first step of the pinwheel, which is making that X. So you're going to fold from the bottom corner to the top corner, increase. Then open it, fold it again from the bottom left to the top right increase. You're going to be making an X. Okay. I have a feeling you all know what's coming next because you're going to fold from the bottom to the top. And then from right to left or left to right. Okay. You can't really see you can kind of see the creases on this one. You will see that there's a crease like this, a crease that folds the paper like this, and then the X in the middle. Okay. The next thing you're going to do is fold again from the left to the middle. Actually, sorry, I take that back. I was doing the wrong project in my head. You're going to fold, you're going to rotate your paper a little bit so the crease, the point at the bottom of the page is facing you. You're going to fold this point right here to the middle. And then you're going to fold it one more time to the middle again. This is one of my favorite projects to make because I used to make boxes a lot and then give them to my friends or just keep them in my room. And I had a collection of boxes when I was in elementary school. So I'm going to do this. Once you've done that, you're going to repeat it on all four sides. So you can unfold this, rotate your paper, and then fold it up again. And fold it again to the middle. And then unfold, rotate, do it 2 more times. Some people coming into the waiting room. And then of course, you're more than welcome to unmute or type in the chat and stop me if you think I'm going too fast or if you want me to slow down or if you are confused. Fold, rotate the paper, do it 1 more time. Okay. Hi, Revel.
This reminds me of all the little squares we used to do in 5th and 6th grade and write the problems in each square.
Yeah.
Remember?
I do. I definitely remember having to do this in class. When I was in elementary school, they used to teach us if you had an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, if you were folding it from like this way, it would be the hamburger fold. And if you're folding it this way, it would be the hot dog fold. So I don't know if you all remember that, but I like it when my class talks about food. Okay, so I saw on Revel's paper, she looked like she was done. And you can see if I hold it up a little bit closer to the light, you have a full grid on your paper. So the first thing you're going to do is follow the creases. So you're going to fold from the bottom to the middle, from the top to the middle. And then you're going to fold both of them again. And the reason we start with the creases is because it makes everything so much easier when we get to this next part. Okay. Good. Okay, so rotate. And then this is kind of the fun part. So you're going to do a similar thing that you did with the pinwheel, which is the pinch and fold at the same time. So you are going to basically take this line right here to the middle part. I don't know if that makes sense, but I will demonstrate and show you. that when you fold both parts in, you're basically trying to make these corners touch right here. You fold those in, you create a 3D shape. Okay. Does that make sense? So you're taking this corner and you're dragging it to this right here. And you're taking this corner and you're dragging it to the center point right here. And you have made a 3D shape. Looks like Revel is close. Revel, I don't know if that's your name or if that's just your screen name. Sorry. It says Revel 4. So. Okay. And once you have that, give me a thumbs up in the chat. I know this part is a little bit complicated.
Elise, could you demonstrate that last fold again?
Sure, sure.
Thank you.
So, oh, here, I have a pen right here. So this will probably help because the color will be darker. So as you can see right here in the corner, there's a point right here. And your objective, I guess, is to try to get this point right here to this center point right here, which now that I'm thinking about it, there's a giant C, which is blocking my purple marker. But if you can see it, there's like a little point right here. And you're gonna put this corner right here to this corner. And your crease line will be right here. So you're gonna follow the crease right here and drag this corner to this corner right here. And then another crease will appear when you do that right here. Steph, I don't know if that made sense. Paulo looks like he got it. So does Revel. Did that make sense, Steph? Okay.
This is Lee. I'm having a great deal of problems with that move.
Okay. Lee, if you want to turn on your camera, I can walk you through it. Let me try to think of another easier way to explain this. Something you can do is you see how there's a line right here from your crease if your paper looks like this. Something you can do is just fold this top right here to this, and you automatically make that crease, and that might make it a little bit easier. And then fold this part right here to this part right here to make those two lines connect. And if you make that crease, it should pop up. Ironically, I think the crane might be slightly easier than this.
It actually helped me, Elise, when I did it together. So when I put like both of the sides to the front and then it lifted up.
Oh, okay. That's a good tip, Paulo. Can you show everyone how to do that? Me.
So when I had it like this, right? I folded it in at this to the center, like Elise was talking about earlier, and then I just kind of like lifted it up, so then it became a 3D, like she said. So when you have the diamond, then you can just put them, try to put these corners to the middle, and then lift it up like that. And then you have a little. I do this when I gift wrap, so I think maybe that's why I get.
That's a good analogy actually to think about gift wrapping.
Or when I wrap. I used to do that too.
Okay. I will walk you through the next step because you're going to repeat it on the other side, and then I'll come back and help anybody who needs additional support with this part. So once you have it like looking like this, it's kind of standing up, you're going to fold the top over, increase it, and you have your first or your third wall, I suppose, the third wall of your box. Everyone see that? So the move or the step is once you have it like this, you fold it over the top of the box. Now I can see why all those origami people on YouTube have like the multiple angles so you can see everything. It's much easier. Okay, Paula, I'm gonna stop your stoplight unless you wanna. Oh, see, Paula already. Paula, you're an origami master. Okay, and then repeat it on the other side and you will have a box. PhD in origami. I would love to get a PhD in origami. That'll be what I do for the rest of my life, is just teaching this. Or not even teaching this, just like doing it and saying that I have a PhD in origami. Okay. Yay, Stephanie, great job. Okay. Are we good? Was everybody able to get to a 3D shape? No? Okay. If you weren't, that's perfectly okay. If you are willing to stay a little bit later, I can walk you through this part again, but I do want to get to the crane, which is, I know, what a lot of people wanted to learn today, not necessarily math and all that other stuff. For the sake of time, I do have a video to share, but I am going to skip it and I'll put the link in the chat a little bit later. Basically, there's a legend in Japan about origami, and it kind of came, it was around for a very long time, but it became a really popular symbol. The paper crane became a really popular symbol right after World War II in the bombing of Hiroshima. And so in Hiroshima, there was a little girl, her name was Sadako. She was, I believe, 2 years old when the atomic bomb was dropped. And she unfortunately developed some sort of radiation poisoning, and she had leukemia and unfortunately passed away when she was 12 years old. Now, before she turned 12 years old, she had read and heard about this legend of that if you make 1,000 of these origami paper cranes, you will be granted one wish. And unfortunately, she didn't make it to 1,000 paper cranes. I think she made it to, gosh, I think like 644 cranes before she passed. And I learned about this legend when I was in, I think, like 2nd grade or something. And I learned it from this book right here, which I hope you can see. It's called Sadako and the 1,000 Paper Cranes by Eleanor Kerr. I'll put the title in the chat if you are interested in checking out this book. It's heart-wrenching. Don't know why I read it when I was in 2nd grade, but it really gave me a great perspective. And this is the book that got me into origami that I mentioned earlier. So with that being said, let's learn how to make a paper crane. And hopefully one day you will all get to 1,000 of them and have a wish granted. So let's get started. Like I said, I don't know why, I feel like this one might be easier than making all of the boxes and things. But we're gonna get started. So this is, of course, your square sheet of paper. I'm gonna move this out of the way. Square sheet of paper. You know the drill by now. Fold it, make an X. And then fold it the other way. Make kind of a cross shape. So left to right, bottom to top, top to bottom. And this is my favorite move in origami right here. You're going to flip it up so it's like kind of sitting like a little tent on your surface. You are going to hold these sides right here, and you are going to push the paper in and down. So I will do it again. I'll do it with this piece of paper. So you're gonna make the X first. Might actually help if you flip the paper over. So I made my X here. And the creases, the valley folds, I guess what they're called, are facing this way. So I'll flip the paper over just to make it a little bit easier on this later part. And then fold it from bottom to top. And right to left. And then you will have your little, you'll have your tent right here, like this. Oops, tent's not even standing up. Then you push the two sides together and fold it down. Okay. Okay, Rebel, so what you're gonna do is you have your square or your rectangle like this. You are going to pinch these sides at the top here and push it in. So you have, I'll show you from the bottom. That might be easier. Oh, if you've ever made like a fortune teller, or I guess they were used to be called cootie catchers when I was younger, think of it almost like that. So you're gonna fold like this so that all of the points come together. Yes, Paulo, yeah, so like this. This is what it looks like from the bottom. Oh, Rebel, you got it, okay. Perfect, so yes, so just make sure that your points are together and the points on the other side are together as well. Perfect. Okay, and then just crease it, which means when I say crease it, I mean just put it down and just make sure all of your creases are very sharp. Okay. Everybody good? Thumbs up? Thumbs up. Okay, nice. So the next step is you are going to take this part right here, this corner part, or this, not corner, sorry, this edge right here at the opening. So you don't want to do it upside down like this. You want to make sure that the opening is facing you. And you're gonna put this edge right here to the center. And so again, up close, it'll look like this. So this edge right here, where the opening is gonna go to the center right here. You're gonna repeat that on all 4 flaps. Let me do it actually with a colored sheet of paper so you can kind of hopefully see a little bit more contrast. This colored paper is unfortunately very small. Okay, so you're gonna take this edge piece right here to the middle. And you're gonna repeat that 3 more times. I hope that makes sense. Okay, so you will end up with something that looks like this. Paulo, perfect. Revel, how you doing? Good. I'll transition to the bigger paper and show you one more time. I'm sure there are names for all of these folds, but I am unfortunately, I don't remember all of them. Didn't learn them and I don't remember all of them. I just know that this is how to make a paper crane. So the next step is to take this top piece right here and fold it so that your crease line is here. So fold it along this edge. It's not going to go down all the way. We don't want it to go down all the way. We just want it to line up like this. So you have kind of an isosceles triangle looking thing. I'm using math words. The only math words I know is geometry. Yes, Naya. Okay, so you're gonna fold along this part right here. So you're gonna fold at the top along this line down. Oh, it is 6 o'clock. I'm so sorry. We are going to go over a little bit. I believe Alfonso is going to put the survey in the chat if you can't stay for the full thing. But this will probably only be like 10-ish more minutes, I'm hoping. So after you're done with this step, what you're gonna do is open the flaps. And you're gonna come up with this square again. And then you're gonna open from the mouth. It almost looks like a mouth, right? So this bottom part right here, you're gonna open it up and then keep folding it up. And then you're gonna press it down along these creases. This is part of the reason why you want really sharp creases when you're doing origami. And as you can see, okay, and then give me a thumbs up if you got that one. Oh, Daniel, so sorry. How about you just select the first one? That's okay. If you just select any random one, I'll know because it's for this date. So that's perfectly fine. Then you're gonna rotate your paper and do it one more time. You're gonna open it up and then press it down. And you're gonna end up with something that looks like this. And then it's gonna have this little points in the middle. It looks like a little kite, actually. I think this might be called the kite base in origami language, but I don't know off the top of my head. Okay. Oh, hi, Jenny. Jenny, I've seen you at a few of our events before. I just didn't recognize your screen name. Nice to see you again.
It's great seeing you too. That was the name of my cell phone.
Oh, okay. I'm so
Red
bad calling
4.
you. It's like someone calling me like Android or something. So sorry about that. It's nice to see you again, Jenny. Okay, so everybody have this? Okay, great. So this next part, you're gonna fold this edge right here to the center, like this. And you're gonna repeat that on all of the sides. Then flip it over and do it 2 more times. Okay, does that make sense? So you went from something that looked like this with your little diamond shape to something that looked like this. You fold the edges in. Okay. Thumbs up. Does that make sense? You good? Okay, great. So the next thing you're gonna do is, so take this flap right here and fold it to this side. Take the other flap right here and fold it to this side. So you're gonna end up with basically what looks like a very, very similar shape, except now you can see there's like a little line in the middle as opposed to a line down here. Line will now be on the top. You will see that there's this little point right here. Okay. And then you're gonna fold this bottom part up as high as it can go. So it'll basically line up with this top part up here. Flip it over, bottom to top again. So all of these points will line up. Okay. Thumbs up, does that make sense? Okay, great. Next thing you're gonna do, you're almost there, there's like 2 more steps, is again, fold this right part over, flip it over, fold this right part over. You're gonna end up with something that looks like this. And then this is where it actually starts to look like a crane. You're gonna pull this top part right here out as long as you want. Doesn't really matter how long. If you want a crane with a super long neck or super long tail, you can do that. Flip it over, do it on the other side, like this. And then fold the top down, and you're making the head. And you have a little paper crane. Yay. Thank you guys. I want to see yours. If you can turn on your camera if you want to. Oh, Steph, that looks great. See, Steph curled the wings a little bit more than I did. Mine are very flat. I know Paula is working on the head right. Yay. Oh, Julie, that looks great. So fun fact, the smallest one I ever made was the size of a penny. I don't know why I did it with a chopstick wrapper, I think, at a restaurant. And I ended up with something that looked like it was a crane, but it was as small as a penny. And I do have my box here because I'm in the process. Probably not going to get to 1,000 this year, but I think I have like 200 in here. So this is what I do in my free time because, like I said, it's good like meditative practice to be able to do crafts and things. So I'm going to stop my video on this one. That's it for me, guys. Thank you all so much for coming. It was really great to kind of share this with you. like I said, origami is just really, really has been really fun for me for a very long time. It's one of my favorite crafts to do in my free time. So thank you all for joining along, and we do have a few more events coming up throughout this week, and they're all about healing practices and meditation. We have a yoga event tomorrow. We have a meditation event, I believe, on Thursday, and then we have an Eastern Healing Practices event on Friday. So thank you all so much for coming, and I hope to see you at the other events. And don't forget to fill out that survey if you want to be entered into a raffle to win a gift card. So thank you all. Have a great day.